Hey, it's Anthony Iannarino, and I want to talk to you about sales transformations. And I made a list of things that we know that will cause you to fail. Before I do that, I want to tell you, maybe you're using a methodology that's, 60 years old, maybe 22 years old, something like that, and you're not getting the results that you want. One of the things that I know for sure, it's not your company and it's not your solution that's causing you not to have the win rates that you want. But I also know that how you sell is the biggest variable in your win rates. If your methodology is not helping you get better win rates and making sure you hit your goals and your targets, then it would be time for you to start looking at other methodologies and having a conversation with people to understand their methodology and how it is client-centric and how it causes contacts to decide that they prefer your salespeople. If you are going to engage in a sales transformation, the first thing that I would tell you that you could get wrong is not answering the question, why change? That is a hard question to answer. If what you were doing was working in the past and your sales force has won deals using the methodology or the sales approach that you used, it's very difficult for them to think, for the last 10 years, everything was wrong, but I still won these deals. Why do I have to change? Your responsibility is to explain that even though that methodology was right in the past, it's not right for this time that we're in right now. So we have to keep moving with the future. As buyers change and as their needs change, we change. So you're gonna have to explain that the reason that we're looking at this methodology or that we're gonna adopt it is simply because we believe that it will be a better way for us to go to market and to reach our goals. This is the one that really gets people in trouble. The sales managers must lead their own team. So I've seen groups that go into a transformation and the sales managers are not the ones that are training their own teams. If you want to make sure that what you do works, you're going to train your sales managers to train your salespeople. That's what you need to do. Anything other than this, I've done this a whole bunch of times. You go someplace, you get a big hotel room, you're there for 3 days. At the end of the 3 days, nothing happens because it wasn't your sales managers training their own team. And if you can get that done, your chances of having a successful transformation go up dramatically. Sales managers. I know it's the hardest job. It's very difficult. It gets more difficult over time. But I want to tell you, the sales managers have the ability and have the obligation to help their team make the behavioral changes. When you're doing a sales transformation, you're going to have to cause your team to have behavioral changes. So they can't do the same thing that they were doing in the past, or we don't have a transformation. But when the sales manager is able to go on meetings with them or on Zooms with them, God forgive us for that, if you have the ability to talk to your team and to help them understand how to execute the behavioral changes, the chances of you having a great sales transformation just goes up and up and up as more sales managers start having conversations and forcing the behavioral changes. I did use the word forcing this because it cannot be, well, some people have to do this, other people don't have to do this. Jimmy doesn't really like this idea and he's a really great rep. If you let that happen, then you're gonna start having problems with other people saying, if Jimmy doesn't have to do this, why don't I have to do it? I mean, why am I doing it if he's not having to do it? You want the behavioral changes to come from your sales managers. They have the best relationships with their team, and they're the ones that can lead them. If you're a sales leader, I will tell you that this is probably what is going to make it difficult for you, and that is a lack of patience. You spent 3 days in a hotel. You did all the training. You did all the exercises. Everybody had a great time. Everything was fine. And now you want it to be done today. Not tomorrow, not the next day, not over the next 6 or 9 or 12 months. Depending on the change that you're making, you should expect that it's going to take time for the behavioral changes to take, for people to get more confident in their methodology and the strategies that come with it. And if you try to do this faster, what happens is you just sort of say, okay, we're done now with this. I'm going to go on to the next thing. You can't go on to the next thing until you get the sales transformation done. So you need to do that. You need to get that done completely over everybody's doing what they need to, then you can go on to the next thing. If you add a second thing, the chances of you failing go up dramatically. No favorites. Nobody is allowed to say, I'm opting out of this. If somebody's allowed to be opting out, other people will opt out with them. This gives you the last thing that I would tell you that's most important is managerial will. Managerial will means that I am going to keep banging this drum over and over and over again until we do this. And that means that your will has to be greater than the resistance of your team, the resistance of your sales managers, resistance of senior leaders. All of that, you're just going to be in a fight for some period of time. But if you want better results and you want a sales transformation, these are the things that will cause you to fail, and these are the things that will cause you to succeed. So if you decide to do this, if you reach out to me and just send me an email, I'll give you my very best way to tell you how to make sure that you succeed with the why change when you decide to do a sales transformation. I'm Anthony Iannarino. I'm going to try to do this every day. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, go to thesalesblog.com. You're going to find a place where you can put your email into our system, and you'll start getting our VIP newsletter. All right, that's all I got. See you tomorrow.